So the other day we found out exactly what the next live stream is going to go over. It's this week, pretty much at the same time. We'll go over all of those details in a second. But the main thing that I wanted to highlight on the start of this video is that some people aren't very happy about it. So we will go over exactly what was said, what the live stream is going to cover, why I think you should still be excited, when it's going to be, all that stuff, and then some other bits of news that we have going over the rest of the week. My name is Ryan Central and welcome back to another Anthem video. Man, I need a new intro because that's too much like Arx's. Man, I need to think of something. Michael Gamble tweeted this week's stream, a little thought Tarsus, good to show you what changes we made to the Lost Arcanist mission and from the Interceptor's perspective, maybe on Master difficulty. The live stream is also at 1 PM Pacific time, 4 PM Eastern, 9 PM GMT for us Brits, 10 PM for Central European time zone. You can find the live stream at twitch.tv/Anthem game, and if you're still not sure when it's going to be or worried that you'll miss it, join the Discord, we can ping you when it is so you know exactly when to tune in. There's quite a lot of things here, but looking at Reddit you can see a lot of people sort of disappointed or at least not excited for this stream in comparison to some of the other ones. Some believe in the fact that lots of people asking for loot and it not being answered is a bit of a concern. Fort Tarsus, to be honest, I don't really care about just yet. I can wait on seeing that. I can be a little bit more patient. This mission was played in Paris like over a month ago now. Time is going by so fast it's actually terrifying, but it was a very basic patrol mission going from place to place and doing some of the bits and pieces. But we're going to see changes made to that mission, which is good in a lot of senses. It means that the devs are implementing some of the feedback that they may have got from that mission. The Interceptor gameplay doesn't really need explaining. Master difficulty might be nice, but I think that the main thing that people are overlooking, which is a really big aspect, is the fact that we are seeing kind of free movement almost. So the first gameplay live stream that we saw coming out of Paris, it was just that mission. The start and the end, there was nothing else to see. From the other gameplay livestream with Ben Irving and Mike Gamble, that was just free roam. Here we see multiple elements at work. We have Mike Gamble running around like normal, selecting the mission to play it, going into the forge, getting into your javelin, seeing all of this extra stuff, going out doing a mission, and then potentially coming back. We get to see him set the difficulty, hopefully with any luck. You see what I mean? Like, we get to see a lot of aspects that were behind the scenes up until now. We might even see how loot works in a lot of these aspects. It's the smaller things surrounding this stream that I think are going to make the big difference. And just seeing a little bit of, oh, we got this weapon, we got this loot. Maybe next stream we can look at equipping some of the stuff that we got in this mission. That to me would be much more interesting than keeping everything separate. But now let's go over some of the other news stories of this week, starting with the stuff that we mostly heard over the last 24 hours. When a player encounters a group of enemies from different enemy factions, will they make peace to team up to fight against you? Mark Dyer says no, but they will attack you too. There are no developer cameos in the game, which is unfortunate. And there is also a light chromatic aberration filter in the game, but you can turn it off if that's not to your fancy. Will there be seasonal decorations in Fort Tarsus during around specific holidays? Mark Dyer says probably. And just to confirm, Mark Dyer did say that enemies do fight one another from different factions. Can you confirm whether some emotes will be Javelin specific? Some of these might look like they'll kill the Freelancer if it's tried in a Colossus. Mike Dara says he's not sure. If there aren't any Javelin specific ones now, I suspect there will be eventually. I heard that the Colossus specifically has a backflip, which I think he should be the only one that's able to do that. I just need to see that emote as soon as possible. Progress will not be carried over from the demo at release, just as a reminder. And now over to Ben Irving. He goes over what they're currently working on at the moment. It's mainly balance, polish and iteration, which is good news, as I went over a lot of the community on Reddit thinking that the loot system just wasn't done because Bioware haven't shown it off just yet, which I think is a little bit dumb. They just want to make sure that the system looks as good as it can before it gets shown off, because it is probably the most important feature in the game, I'd say at least. Will the Interceptor have more speed than other javelins? Ben Irving says it has more agility and mobility but not higher top speed. Will we have some revolvers or pistols that can keep up in some way with rifles, or like hand repulsors? And Ben Irving says yes to pistols, hand cannons, etc. Will frag grenades and kinetic weapons interact with status effects at all? For example, if someone is frozen with a railgun shot or frag grenade trigger a combo. Ben says that some things apply status effects and some things trigger combos. You will have to learn what does what, which again is really good news. A lot of hidden depth in interactions. Please tell me you guys aren't planning on limited players to one piece of masterwork or whatever the tier ends up being called, gear equipped at one time. Ben Irving says that's not a restriction. So basically you can wear all of the exotic gear that you want, you don't get capped to 1 or 2 per piece, which again should be pretty cool. Here's a lot of questions going over gameplay related stuff within Anthem. There's loads of other stuff that I've missed out, but the reason is that it was either like a very irrelevant topic or it was answered before, so these should all be fairly new things that you haven't heard through. Can javelins shoot through the ranger's bulwark point when it's used? Max says yes, he's pretty sure. You start the game in Fort Tarsis once you've gone through the tutorial. The storm shield does have a durability, and we have seen before that when that durability runs out, the storm will fall to the ground instead of hover. As a reminder, you can choose the order of which javelins you want to unlock, and it will take about an hour to unlock the first one from you starting the game. If you're not picking Colossus, hashtag fit guys save lives, then comment below so I can ban you. Nah, I'm just kidding, but seriously. How will the shipper stomp affect the game, i.e. flying? Macdara says we aren't discussing weather and the like at the moment, but it is worth knowing that there is weather and dynamic systems in place for stuff like that, so that should be really fun. There is a day-night cycle, and as a reminder, we went over this in the last video, you can save a specific loadout or look for your javelin. You can't go back to a strider mid-mission to equip things, you have to do it before or after. Anthem will always be played online, so you need to have an internet connection. And remember the apartment that Macdara spoke about in an interview quite some time ago? You have your own apartment in Fort Tarsis. Well, actually, you've been kicked out, your tenancy is up, and they have removed the apartment, and it didn't really serve a purpose anyway, so that's fine. Just gotta kinda live out your strider, I think, at this point. But he's potentially thinking about bringing it back. Is the plan with Anthem to have something similar to Warframe, having multiple javelins to use depending on your mission? I get the vibe from what I've seen so far. Macdara says yes, which is really good news. I like the customization aspects within Warframe. Flares will not be blocked by a wind wall. I don't know why that would be ever an important question, but we know the answer anyway. And now we get onto some of the Ben Irving questions. Hey Ben, I've been kind of frustrated with Destiny 2 when equipment and progression feels like nothing since enemies always be the same to you. Is that good to happen in Anthem? I really want it to feel powerful as I get stronger better. Ben says power progression is important, playing with your friends is important, we are trying to balance this out so they both feel meaningful. Jitterbot wanted to know if they're going to go over the matchmaking system anytime soon. Ben says we can at some point, we have some other things to explain first. Is there going to be a weight system in Anthem, e.g. heavier weapons increase the cooldown of your power? Ben says there won't be weight, but we will have a similar system in that different gear pieces have longer or shorter cooldowns depending on what they do. Kinda straightforward, right? Can you use a single elemental build with one jab and have the effect stack? Example, Interceptor with multiple acid attacks. Ben says you can't apply stacks of elements to creatures. The more things doing that, the faster the stacks apply. There is a cap, however, if you have access to multiple gear pieces that apply the same elements, you could do this. In terms of the AI, how smart are they? Are they simply attack based or higher damage with some of the enemies or what? Can you elaborate on that? Ben Irving says each creature is a palette as a role, spike damage, suppress, etc. With that role comes different behaviours. It's hard to explain it all quickly. Will we be able to have more than one character, one per class or something like that? Ben Irving says you create a pilot will have access to all javelins. Each javelin could have multiple loadouts, but you can make more than one pilot. So this means that if she wanted, your Nan could play on your Anthem account, she could start her own pilot instead of going onto yours and basically carrying you through every single stronghold and dungeon, because she's probably better than you, I would guess anyway. Will there be enemy types that have the ability to chase you down in flight, perhaps to harass you across the world? Ben says there are creatures who can attack you whilst you fly/hover. Probably the wyverns at this rate, right? How high will I be able to fly before hitting the box limit? Same for going underwater, very exciting. Ben Irving says it's a hard to answer question, you can fly pretty high and swim pretty deep. He goes on to say that there is a lot of verticality which makes answering the how big question tough. It is big though, there are boundaries. Are we going to have forging or re-rolling of items like a division? Ben Irving says we don't think we'll have re-rolling at launch unless you count crafting, a lot of the same things in pursuit of your favourite stats, which I think is important. It does look like crafting is going to play a really big part within Anthem to get the best gear that you can. And good from an earlier question from Macdara, off the top of my head quoting to say that crafting will go right into the end game of Anthem. It won't be like World of Warcraft, right, where crafting only takes you so far. You can still get some of the best gear in the game from crafting materials. But I assume that those materials would come from doing those high-end missions, right? So very excited to see how crafting will work in the game with stats and stuff. If you kill a legendary creature, for example, a spider-like boss in the E3 demo, will you get special rewards, armor pieces, special weapons and gears? Ben Irving says there are a lot of ways that loot drops. Generally doing harder things gives you better loot. I do hope that in some cases only certain bosses and certain strongholds will give you certain gear. Like in World of Warcraft, I really like the aspect of if I want this weapon, I need to keep running this dungeon, as opposed to it could drop anywhere, like in Destiny, for example, or just some other small bits of gear where it's just kind of luck of the draw. You could be doing a really boring patrol mission, or you could be doing a really awesome, difficult stronghold. Both have the same chance to drop some gear. And this is also really cool. Tyler, one of our Interceptor QA testers, just made me believe that you could tank with a storm. He just took down 45 scars like a lightning-fisted god and shrugged off the damage. Now this I need to see. I know that we're seeing Interceptor gameplay for the next stream, but if Tyler could tag along with this storm build, that'd be really cool as well to show how some of the loadouts and different things work in aspects. But it's kind of nice to see that the storm has some elements of tank build, and it's good to know that you could have certain abilities and loadouts that enable that, right? I don't want the storm to be able to tank the same amount of a Colossus, but I can't wait to play with this sort of stuff and theory craft the best kind of builds. That's certainly what I'm going to be looking at a lot on this channel if you haven't subscribed already. I'm just saying, it's probably worth doing if you want to nerd out with me on this kind of thing. And that's all of the Anthem news for this week up until tomorrow with the live stream, so thank you very much for watching. For future reference, I want these videos to be a lot shorter, like 7 to 8 minutes, but we've just had so much news that I wanted to cover it all before tomorrow. But let us know if you prefer shorter or longer winded videos for this kind of content. Join the Discord to keep up to date with all of the info, and I'll see you soon. Take care.